Hello. The former president of Afghanistan, Hamid Karzai, has condemned America's use of one of its largest non-nuclear bombs as inhuman and brutal. The weapon, known as the mother of all bombs, was dropped on a network of caves and tunnels used by Islamic State militants in eastern Afghanistan. It's the second time President Trump has approved military strikes, but it's not clear how many militants were killed in the attack on Nangarhar province. Our North America editor John Sopel has more.
This is the GBU-43, also known as a MOAB, a massive ordnance air blast, or as it's more commonly known, the mother of all bombs. The largest non-nuclear weapon ever deployed, the target, so-called Islamic State in Afghanistan.
We targeted a system of tunnels and caves that ISIS fighters used to move around freely, making it easier for them to target U.S. military advisors and Afghan forces in the area.
Yes, that's okay.
It's turning out to be a busy time for the Commander-in-Chief.
We are so proud of our military, and it was another successful event.
The tunnels and caves that were used by the Taliban over 15 years ago are now being used by IS. This bomb was dropped on a complex tunnel network in Nangarhar province, close to the Pakistan border, where a member of US Special Forces was killed last week. But the actions brought a furious tweet from Afghanistan's former president, Hamid Karzai. This is not the war on terror, but the inhuman and most brutal misuse of our country as a testing ground for new and dangerous weapons. It's not just the dropping of a massive bomb on Afghanistan. In just over a week, President Trump has ordered the missile strike on Syria, a naval battle group to head to the Korean Peninsula, and he's restated his commitment to NATO. Some of Donald Trump's supporters are asking, whatever happened to the isolationist, America First president of the inauguration? John Sopel, BBC News, Washington.
Let's talk to Michael John Williams. He's Professor of International Relations at New York University. Very good to have you with us here on BBC World News. What do you make of the use of this huge bomb?
Good morning. Well, the use of the bomb was mainly dictated, it seems, by military necessity. The insurgents in Afghanistan, in this case ISIS forces, have adapted to the situation over the last decade plus, and they were using, in this sense, a very deep subterranean network of tunnels and bunkers. And so this missile was specifically intended to essentially target that area and penetrate deep into the earth to take out the target. That said, it is a very, very large weapon. It's the largest non-nuclear weapon in the U.S. arsenal. So it certainly is a headline grabber and represents, in some sense, perhaps a change in approach from President Obama, who preserved a bit more of a reserved approach, favoring more drones rather than conventional military forces.
Yes, which brings me on to my next question. Why now? One assumes that network of caves and tunnels was in existence before, and yet this bomb hadn't been used. So I wonder what's changed to enable its use now, if you like.
Yes, this is a great question. Of course, I'm not privy to the intelligence that the Department of Defense has at the moment. So it could be that it's something they've tried to do conventionally, which we know Afghan forces actually were trying to clear that area unsuccessfully. And so this was the U.S. response to that. At the same time, President Trump has really given his military more leeway than President Obama. He says he basically sort of hands off to them and entrusts them to do the job right, which means that there's probably less political reining in, and that could be also behind the use of this weapon.
And it does play a role in sending a signal perhaps to the rest of the world, do you think? Especially given what we've been reporting today about worries that North Korea is about to test another nuclear device.
Well, it certainly could, and I think we see that also with the strike in Syria, that while it was probably sort of predicated on the violation of the norm and law of war about chemical weapons, it was certainly also very much about sending strategic signals. And this may be the same, trying to show to countries in the region, in the Middle East, in the wider Asia world, particularly North Korea, that this administration is different. It is not reserved in the way that the Obama team was, and that countries should take heed. And so hopefully, in some ways, maybe that'll benefit the situation in North Korea, which is becoming increasingly unstable. At the same time, it may add fuel to the fire and perhaps destabilize the situation.
Yes, may inflame it. Just one final thought. I mean, different to the previous administration, but also different to the sort of things that Donald Trump was saying in his campaign about foreign interventions.
Yes, completely the opposite. Presidents often, generally always campaign on domestic issues. In this case, the Trump campaign was very much predicated on sort of a nationalist, almost ethnic nationalist, America right sort of campaign. But foreign affairs always have a way of penetrating the top issues that a president has to confront, and this presidency is no exception.
Thank you very much for joining us. That was Michael John Williams, Professor of International Relations at New York University. And just to bring you an update, this is from our Kabul bureau. This is quoting the Afghan Ministry of Defense, saying that 36 members of so-called Islamic State were killed in yesterday's bomb attack, that huge bomb that was dropped. The statement says that no civilians were killed in the explosion. It also destroyed, they say, a big stash of big and small weapons. That news just breaking in the past couple of minutes.